as much as I love South Florida, tonight it really got me. It wasn't very nice. So I was on my way home from work. Need to go on a bike ride. Maybe I'll go for a run, maybe I'll go for a bike ride, I don't know. Get off the highway close to my house, blue skies, get to my house, totally pouring. Just can't win today. We're gonna finish up last night's vlog tonight. I have almost everything shot except for a few little pieces, and it's gonna be an awesome one. I'm super proud of the way that last night's today's turned out, and I'm determined to make this one even better. So watch on. First let's start with the Blue Bomber himself. This is a really early piece. You can see real shooting weapon. Now, shooting spring-loaded weapons were somewhat of a taboo at the time that this figure was produced. So for us, that was a big win, to include something that actually had a shooting action. Things like that were very popular in the 70s and 80s. And then just with safety hazards and litigation liability becoming what it eventually became, something of a nightmare for toy manufacturers, this was a little bit of a reintroduction of that type of technology. I'll move the camera up here so you can get a little bit of a closer look without seeing the wood panels, but he was quite articulated, so you can see somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 points of articulation, which I was really happy about. I mean, he's a great character, but posability when it comes to this character is key. He had a swappable buster and his right hand, which was another reintroduction of a retro style on an action figure at that time. And that's where I really feel like Jesse was ahead of his time, introducing things like build-a-figures, swappable heads, accessories, firing accessories. Now, we weren't the only ones to do it, but we were one of the only ones to do it at big box retail, at what's considered mass market retail. A very, very close second to that figure, a very strong fan favorite, is of course Quickman. I'll move this back down here. We can see the entire figure, also some of my walls, but who cares? So Quickman, again, had a firing weapon, came with a cool accessory, and where Jesse went above and beyond with this figure is this gorgeous metallic paint job on the figure. To this day, Quickman, this exact Quickman out of packaging, stands in our main conference room where we entertain all of our guests, and it just holds up. It's held up. This figure was produced in 2004, so you can see here, this is the cross-sell on the back of the package, and this was the original version of Quickman that was done earlier, maybe 2002, and he is not the metallic finish that you see on this actual production figure. And then you can see how the line kind of extended. So this was the core offering, Mega Man, Proto Man, Quickman, base in 2 different colors, and then we had, you know, the sneak that other figures were coming out, and I believe that was a paint variation of Mega Man that we actually, you know, we produced some for our showroom in the number of almost 20 different paint variations that covered every one of Mega Man's extendable armor sets. And then we extended the entire line through the Mega Man X property, which was Mega Man X. You have Zero. You have God, his name's gonna escape me now. That guy. You had the first introduction of Vile. So there was a lot happening. Axel. Axel, that was his name. So there was a lot happening within this line for that day and age that hadn't quite been done in a long time. So I can get a nice shot of his face. Just an incredibly faithful representation of the character's face from the anime rendering of Quickman. I love, this is one of my favorite possessions. I don't think I'll ever open it. I do have one out of package somewhere. I'll have to find it. Mega Man Zero. Let's get this guy. Oh, this is my backdrop. So Zero is an interesting kind of amalgam of styles for this time. Oh, looks like I lost a sticker from this somewhere. We had some call-outs. It includes his Z-Saber. The figure was articulated, but not quite as articulated as the earlier figures. We had some issues with the way that the model of this hip came out, where his legs tend to spread out when he's in like a seated position. Not really a big deal. He was still posable. He still looked really great on shelf. And we again introduced this collectible minifigure. And I'll say it again, Jesse was ahead of his time in thinking of this. Now you have minifigures being one of the most popular forms of action figures, and this was again one of the first times this style of figure was reintroduced at retail for the mass market. We changed up the entire cross cell for this line, so you can see here this is how many figures expanded into the range. You had the Napalm Bomb, which was the one that was the reveal, Command Mission, Mega Man X, Metallic X, Zero, Nightshade, Quickman, but the metallic one that I showed you moments ago, Zero version 2, Rush. Everybody was on there. Cutman, he was cool as his little scissor thing fired out of his head. It was amazing. And then you can also see this micro playset, again ahead of its time. You see this now represented through almost every action figure line. At that time though, these sold notoriously poorly. The world just wasn't ready for that. But they had a lot of features, these wrecking balls and these spikes went up and down, the treads on these things turn. I still have some of these. The figures had magnets embedded in the bottom of their feet, again, which was a serious taboo of that day and age due to kids swallowing other magnetic toys and things, but they ended up in here. Now that was very much a tribute to early die-cast figures like Starcom and Eagle Force and a lot of those pocket-sized hero figures that you still see, in the collector's market today. I believe this was a variation of this one, so we did have these in a painted range as well, and a really nice touch that we included with some con exclusives were these glow in the dark versions of the characters. So you have, this is Mega Man X, the classic Mega Man, Base, Cutman, and these feel a little bit like the plastic is degrading, like they've gotten a little bit sticky, which means they might not be the best for me to be holding on to. But if you could see these things in action, they glow like all hell. They're really, really cool. I'll see if I can get a shot of them glowing. I mean, like maybe if I just douse them with... Well, unfortunately it didn't really work, but you can get a sense of how cool these guys are. I mean, there's just a tremendous amount of detail in these figures. 4 minis. Poses were just spot on. This is a little bit of a quirky example of how we went deep into some of the characters. This is what's known as the Gaia armor variant of Mega Man. Just one of the coolest versions of Mega Man in his armor. And we weren't quite sure on how this line would be, embraced by retail, the model kits, but this was heavily influenced by the popularity of models within the Japanese anime culture. It's really cool. This box has seen better days, but it's pre-painted, very easy assemble. You can see it's just kind of a snap kit. This was from, I believe, 2003, and one of my favorite pieces to still have in an unassembled form, although the box has definitely taken a beating. You can see we did plan on doing the Ultimate Armor, the Force Armor, and the Zero Hunter. I don't know if we ever produced them or not. I think models just weren't quite mass market friendly like we thought they might be. But we did really well with all the other pieces in the line, so can't really complain. We have something that's really cool for our collections, and it's just another example of how we did anything and everything relevant to Mega Man. Last but not least is the retro roto. I showed this in a previous episode, but I don't think I brought out Shadow Man, one of my favorite cult characters from the Mega Man franchise. You can see here on the cross cell that this was one of the first times we had developed a Build-A-Figure, which was the full charge Mega Man. Oops, listed down there. That's that for the backdrop. Let me put that back up. Okay, well that's not gonna last. We're gonna have to cut this short soon, but Shadow Man was super cool. He is the one that included the headpiece of the full charge Mega Man, who was a really nice metallic injected plastic with just the painted white detail on the eyes that you can see there. You can see that the blister on this figure has started to turn this ugly yellow color, which means there's some type of filler in the plastic that's just beginning to degrade, and that's kind of a surefire sign that it's not good for you. So in the early 2000s, there were a lot less safety requirements and standards as to what could be put in certain plastics, and something like that was not the fault of the product development team or the company, but this was something that was done to cost reduce at the factory level, and still done today. You can't really tell anything like this, 'cause mostly they're discarded, but if you were to see these in the landfill, that's the way that they would be breaking down. A lot of the times this gets tacky, and you should definitely wash your hands after handling it. A lot of that stuff is absorbed right through your skin. So, a word to the wise: if you're out there at the swap meet or at the garage sale and you find something plastic, when you pick it up and it's tacky, it feels like almost like a slick. You definitely want to wash your hands after handling that. And that's it for tonight. You know, I have just tons of action figures that I've worked on and collected that I can talk about. What I want is to hear from you if this is something that you want to get more into in the vlog here. There's no shortage of material. Down here in the secret chambers, I have years and years of toys and things that I've worked on. I wanted to do Adventure Time tonight. That's one of my most proud lines to have worked on, but I don't have that many samples on hand, so I might have to get some out of storage. The NBA. This is a really cool one we'll get into next time. This is from an anime property called Trigun. You can see that. This is a test sample, something that I don't think was ever produced. So there's definitely plenty more where that came from. Let me know if you like what you saw. Press the like button. Get your friends to subscribe. Maybe share this on your Facebook page. That would help me out greatly. The channel's really growing. It's performing excellently, and I couldn't be happier with that because I really love doing this. So yeah, help me out. Subscribe, share, like, and definitely leave me a comment. Tell me if there's anything that you like, any type of toys that you want to talk about. I can talk about any of them. So let's do it. It's going to be fun. Let's have a conversation. Okay. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Belle, look at me. You are so silly. You don't fit in there. Come on out of there. You playing? What are you doing? You're a silly girl. Behind the door.